to another Photoshop video tutorial in which I'm going to show you how to use the new Photoshop CS lens blur filter. Now, what the lens blur filter does is it mimics the depth of field which is usually achieved in photography. Now, how does Photoshop do it? Well, since Photoshop does not have any AI yet, not yet anyway, um, it needs some depth information and it acquires this information from an alpha channel. Now, I haven't really talked about alpha channels yet, so I'm going to give you a quick alpha channel 101 in this tutorial. Now, what you have to do is open up the channels palette. Go to Window and choose Channels if you don't see it. Okay, now go to this icon and click, which will open up a new alpha channel called Alpha 1, and it will automatically fill it with black. Now, why black? Well, in alpha channel language, black is transparent as opposed to white, which is fully visible, well, fully opaque. And what we have to do is we have to, well, draw Photoshop um, to tell it what is really in the foreground and what is in the background, as it can't really see that in the picture, it only sees pixel data. Okay, now click here to bring up the visibility of the image, the RGB image that I'm working in, and I already created two alpha channels. I just drew them before I made this tutorial, and this will, well, speed up the process, I guess. You can follow up the tutorial so you draw something that represents the objects that you want in the foregrounds. Well, you draw that with white and leave the other things with black. Okay? Now, I've also made the second uh, alpha channel, and what this one will do is it will be an intermediate depth information. So Photoshop will not heavily blur this, but it will, well, blur it halfway. Okay, so I'm going to show you this in action. Control click on the middle layer, go to the Alpha 1 alpha channel, and go to Edit, Fill, and choose 50% gray. Hit OK. Now control click on the front layer, which will select everything but this piece of rock here. And go to Edit again, Fill, and fill it with white. Hit OK, and we have the alpha channel ready to be used by the lens blur filter. Go to Layers, click on Background, and let's go. Filter, Blur, and Lens Blur. And the lens blur filter will automatically use the channel. And if you don't see what I see right now, the foreground elements that we want to be in the foreground as sharp and the background as white, if you see this, well, just click on the elements that you want in the foreground. Just click, and Photoshop will understand this as you want to have the white in the foreground and the black in the background, which will be heavily blurred. Now, as you remember, we had this piece of rock here in 50% gray. And if we take a look at it, it really isn't as blurred as the background. It's blurred halfway. Well, that's that. Hit OK, and we have a artificially created depth of field effects. Okay, well, that concludes our tutorial. If you have any feedback over it, I advise you to go to the lombergar.com forums and, well, type in your question and I'll be happy to answer it. And, well, till next week, have a nice time. Bye.